So it's October, and that means it's fall, y'all. Now, for a lot of people, that means pumpkin spice time. But for me, it's all about the comfort food, right? We talking about gumbos, we talking about soups, we talking about beans. So today, I decided I was gonna make me some beans and rice for lunch while I took my Zoom calls. I'm getting on my sous chef shit. You know, I'm over here chopping up, slicing and dicing, doing the things that need to be done. I got this young onion right here, so I did a little bit of that. Then I found this red pepper that was in the refrigerator getting a little bit wrinkly. So I was like, fuck it, let me go ahead and chop that up and put that in there too. That's really what you want to do with wrinkly vegetables, especially if you don't really care about like how crisp and crunchy they are. And if they ain't molded, go ahead, chop it up and throw it on up in there. Now I threw the scraps in the stock bag for the freezer because the holidays are coming and ain't nobody trying to be buying stock. Now let's get this pot liquor going for these beans. Add a smoked turkey leg, some onions, some Lowry seasoned salt, a little bit of black pepper. I'm going to add some garlic powder. And of course, we got to add some paprika because black people love that. And you know black people love a good bay leaf, baby. So throw a couple of them in there, stir it up, and just let it rock. I bought this andouille sausage for gumbo, but I'm going to go ahead and use them in these beans. So I sliced it up real good. I like to slice them twice just to make sure you get a little bit of a little bit of sausage in every bite of beans. So once you slice them up, throw them in that cast iron skillet. I'm still on my Zoom call, still paying attention, but I'm going to throw this meat and vegetables in the oven and get them roasting real good, just long enough for my stuff to get a nice little bit of texture and flavor to it so it don't be tasting basic. Alright, boom. Now we gonna work on the rice. So you want to start out melting some butter. Good quality, real butter, not margarine, not parquet, butter. Then you want to add some chopped onions in there and you want to cook them bitches until they get nice and translucent and light skinned until the onion juices come all out. And now we're going to add the rice. Throw the rice in there and you want to stir it. You want to toast it. You want to melanate the rice, baby. You want to get it nice and brown, okay? Give it a nice little color to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in my secret ingredient, which is some Better Than Bouillon chicken base. You could use chicken stock or whatever. Either way, now's the time that you want to add your flavor and you want to add in your liquid. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and add some water. Now back to this pot liquor. It's looking real good, so I'm going to go ahead and throw these beans in there. I got some red kidney beans that I had left over from HelloFresh. Threw them in there. Remember I had some pinto beans from back in the day in the cabinet. I rinsed them off. I threw them bitches in there too. Then I added a little diced tomatoes up in there. You know, that's always good for a little acidity. And I put my turkey leg back in there that I had took out and cut up. And now we just gonna stir it up, stir it up. You know I gotta taste it. Every time I do that, I gotta taste it, okay? Just know. And then I took my sausages and my vegetables out the oven and I put them in there too. And you know, we gotta stir it up. But every time you see me lift up that little spoon, that means I tasted it. And I wanna tell y'all that I had rinsed the spoon off before I put it back in the thing, but I didn't, because I don't. And if you ever ate at my house, you ate after me, but it's cool. And then I decided I wanted to put a little bit more seasoning in there. So I put some Cajun seasoning in there just to give it a little bit more spice. Back to them same original seasonings I had before, except maybe the salt. I ain't do that this time. And then now we're going to, of course, add a little garlic powder, because who mad at garlic powder? Not me. So the rice is looking good. It's cooking, it's cooking, it's cooking to cook down. Cook down a little bit more. And then you want to go ahead and fluff it out. Use your fork so your stuff don't be all hard and clumped together and all gummy and shit. So stir it up real good, shake it up, do what you gotta do. Now let's talk about this cornbread. So I'll be the first to admit that I'm cheating right now because this is self-rising cornmeal mix. And my grandmamas did not raise me like that. They had me out here in these streets with the baking soda and the flour and the cornmeal like real life. But we ain't on that. So this is what I'm doing right now. What you call this is called buttermilk powder. If you don't know about it, learn about it. But sometimes they get hard, so you have to like crunch it up or whatever and just make sure it's still powdery. But basically it's like buttermilk, but in a powder mix, like government powdered milk back in the day, but buttermilk. And it costs a lot more in the store. So anyway, use whatever is the recipe on the back of the cornmeal bag. That's what I did. I think this is like some sugar right here. I'm going to throw a couple little teaspoons of that in there because cornbread that ain't got no sugar in it is actually trash. A little bit, not a lot. It ain't got to be sweet like Jiffy Mix, but come on now. A little bit of sugar ain't never hurt nobody. And then you stir it up or whatever. And then at some point, I'm going to go ahead and add in like an egg or whatever. You really have to beat that egg ahead of time. Don't try to beat your egg in the bowl. Beat it up. Beat it up. I beat it up. Yeah, so go ahead and beat the egg up, throw it up in there or whatever. And since I used the buttermilk powder, I just got to use a little bit of water, right? So pretend like this is a liquid measuring cup and not a powder measuring cup, but you get the point. And then you want to stir it up, mix it up real good so that you can have you some nice good cornbread. That's a real good, easy, simple cornbread mix. You ain't got to recreate the wheel, but also you ain't got to be eating Jiffy Mix all the time either. Like, do that shit. Now, the recipe on the cornmeal bag say you're supposed to use vegetable oil or shortening, but I use butter. So anyway, melt you some butter in that cast iron skillet. I washed it. And then what you want to do is when you get your melted lard or butter or whatever you're using, shortening or whatever, then you go ahead and you pour that motherfucking cornbread mix up in that skillet, honey. You get that shit up in there, okay? And this what's going to make your shit taste delicious is what I'm trying to tell you. So you pour it all up in there real nice and good, okay? And then you swirl it around, baby. You swirl that shit around like a vanilla chocolate sundae, like interracial dating. You swirl that cornbread and butter mix around like an interracial couple. You hear me? Now go ahead and put that interracial couple in the oven on whatever the fuck temperature and for however the fuck long they said to do it on the package or whatever. At some point when it's done, you take that shit out and you test it, right? You take you a nice little, not Q-tip, nigga, toothpick, and you stick it in there. And if don't no cornbread come out on the toothpick, then you good. And you take that shit out the oven and you is done. Hey, that's some pretty ass cornbread right there. So, you do it around the side or whatever, slice it up and get your servings and shit ready. My grandma used to turn hers over on the plate or whatever, but mine ain't really come out like that. So I'm going to just keep slicing and then I'm going to just put the shit on my plate. And now, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Put your little rice on there, okay? Throw your motherfucking beans on there. Make sure you get a little pot liquor because we spend a lot of time on that. And now we serve it. And we say bone, apple, tea, bitches. Now, if I was a real country girl, I'd just eat these beans and this rice and this cornbread with my hands. But since I'm civilized, I'm going to go ahead and eat it with a fork. It was so good, I had to do a little dance. It was so good.